Hey guys, Brian with Buffalo Beer Reviews. Today, during our quarantine, I'm doing a cream ale. Something that I thought was an interesting style. It's going to start getting warmer out, and I figured I haven't done something like this in a while, so I was going to try to get a recipe in and maybe a second time through by the time the weather gets nice. It's a classic cream ale. I forgot what the guidelines call for, like a max original gravity in like the 1050s, an alcohol percentage of around 5.0, 4.5 to 5.5 or something like that. I think it might be a little bit off, but we're not talking about a hoppy juice bomb. We're talking about something that's very subtle in hoppiness, something that's really clear, subtle hops that allow these sort of grain and corn sort of sweetness flavors kind of subtly shine as well. Everything's subdued, everything's light, and it's really cool. I'm going to turn the camera around real quick. Just like with here's my last brew, my Citrus Smash. Just like with my Citrus Smash, this recipe is a little on the pretty easy side. Those are the first three are just my water treatments, but it's 7 pounds of Pilsner, 2 pounds of corn, and a pound of sugar, cane sugar that'll go kind of into the boil. And then an ounce of Mount Hood at the 60-minute mark, and then an ounce of Mount Hood at the 5-minute mark, and then pitch the yeast. I guess the yeast isn't as super important, according to my local homebrew guy. And I had this London ale from White Labs, and that's what I'm going to use. But there are other cream ale sort of specific yeasts, like there's like half lager, half ale sort of yeast. You can use lager yeast and ferment it at warmer temperatures. Whatever I think gives it that subtle, fruity, estery sort of qualities. What was I just going to tell you? Oh, the Mount Hood. I initially was going to use a Liberty hop, but they just didn't have it in the store, and I didn't really want to go through an entire ordering process. I'm trying to support local businesses during our quarantine, so whatever substitution that they had at Niagara Traditions, I did that, and it turned out to be Mount Hood, which I think is a Hallertau kind of derivative. And I guess from what I was reading online about it, it's got some very nice cream ale sort of qualities, and it comes in at 6% alpha acids, which is very nice and low. So we have officially 5 minutes left on the mash in. I want it at like 152. I'm at like 151. I've been fluctuating between like 152 and 153. That's why I have a little bit on the lower end right now. Seems a little bit on the thinner side. I'll be totally honest with you. I don't really have, this is why I'm doing like a test batch. I don't really have a whole lot of experience with these thinner sort of grain bills, honestly. So, I took my notes, I started with like 5.75 gallons, and maybe I just won't sparge as much. I want to end with about 5.5. Maybe I want to end with about 5.5 to 5.75 gallons with a little bit of boil off, and because we're not going to dry hop it, I'm not going to lose a lot of volume to the fermenter. Today I'll be using, since I already have my Citrus Smash occupying the conical, today we're going to use the glass carboy. So that'll be nice. I haven't used the glass carboy in quite a while, so I'll get that all sanitized on my steps, and we'll go from there. All right, it's about the end of our mashing. I don't really know what to expect. I really do think that with the amount of grain and the amount of corn that I have in here. I really do think it's going to be like an aggressive sort of kind of drain and asparage through, honestly. Like nothing about this sort of grist seems to be thick. Yeah, it's not super hot this time. Woo. Yeah, not bad. While we're sparging, set. Crank it all the way up to the boil temp. That way, while we're sparging, the boil kettle can start heating up. Set and set. You can see that's kind of its heating animation. So 150 up to 215. Oh, we got 65 degrees to go. You can already kind of hear it slowing down a little bit, which is cool. So I'm going to take my sparge water, throw it over the top in there, and I'm going to go from there. Sparge is complete. I re-sparged back up to just under 6 gallons. That way I can do evaporation loss and anything else with the hop spider and the chiller and anything at the bottom of the brew kettle that I don't want transferred into the carboy. And it's really exciting because, like, look how pale this is. It's really cool. I had it kind of the wort that I did have coming out of the basket was really super pale and clear. And I do have a little bit of sediment from the crush. I'm gonna see about maybe not putting that back into the kettle. I'm gonna do away with that. So that'll be cool. Very cool sort of brew so far. I'm looking forward to ripping open the Mount Hood and seeing what that smells like. That reminds me, I'll grab my yeast and my hops out of here so I can get those warmed back up. Very easy hop schedule for me today. I'm just going to put one of these in to the hop spider at 60 minutes. It's already weighed out for me at 1 ounce. And then I'm going to put another one of these into the hop spider with 5 minutes left in the boil. So they already did all the work for me. Like I said, it's just that much easier. I've got my yeast that I'll probably keep in my pocket for about 10 minutes just to kind of help it get to room temperature. This is one of my favorite yeasts for the New Englands. It's one of my favorite yeasts for just a regular hazy ale. I just like it. It would be like a similar equivalent to the Y Yeast London Ale 3. So if you're looking for an alternative, this would be it. Cool. I'll pick back up when it comes to a boil and we're putting in a hop addition. I was just cleaning off my my carboy inside and out. Haven't sanitized it yet. I'll wait till the end of the whole brew day. But what I did want to kind of touch on, if you are using like a glass carboy or even a plastic one, these don't really come with handles. Do you know what I mean? Even the ones that you screw onto the top up here with a little like old milk jug sort of handle, those are only really supposed to be used when the carboy's empty, not full of beer or wort. Do you know what I mean? So I got this off of Amazon. It's like a rope sort of basket. The carboy sits in the bottom of it, and it's got these two convenient handles, and it really does make moving the carboy around very safe and easy. I'll show you what it looks like. Now, I only bring this up because you see these in the local homebrew shops all the time, but they're 20 some odd dollars. I got this off of Amazon for maybe $8 at the most, and it's probably the best $8 I had used during my homebrew setup. And that's it. Now you'll have your wort in there, you'll have your airlock on there. You just pick it up and put it wherever the hell you want without potentially breaking this huge freaking glass carboy and potentially spilling all of your beer all over the floor. So that little net thing is definitely worth the time to eliminate the aggravation. All right, we're just about at boil over here. Some clarification. The Beersmith program had my alpha acids in at 6%. And these are actually this year's batch of Mount Hood's 4.8%. So I'm going to do a little bit of adjustment in my program to see if the IBUs change at all. Now, I mean, even at 6%, my IBUs are listed at like 23, which is still very drinkable. But to be, accurate and precise is part of the name of the game when you're doing your home brews and you want to sort of repeat your numbers and hit those numbers consistently time and time again. So I might as well go in and adjust it and see what I can do. Let's see what these things smell like. You know what I mean? Now, right on the actual hop package, it's aroma, citrus, grass, and herbal. It says typical beer styles, lagers, alt beers, bocks, and hells and wheats. Absolutely. You can totally get that grassy herbal nature to it. And it's got a little rider of like a lemon sort of citrus, not like a Citra or a Galaxy sort of citrus component. Do you know what I mean? I always love smelling the hops. It's like this buttery, oily goodness. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait to see how this thing turns out. Yeah, I'm just at like 211 degrees, so let's get this turned around. Let me see here. I'm going to give it a quick stir. You can see it. It's boiling. It's moving. Okay. We're going to add these. Boom. Mount Hood. That's our hour edition. I'm going to give it a little bit of time. We'll pick back up with the 5-minute edition. Any other thoughts that have come across my head. By that time, you'll see the wort chiller will be in there. And we'll get ready to start chilling. And you'll see the fermenter being cleaned as well. I'm going to start doing my cleanup. You know what I mean? Getting the old grains from the Citra out of here. I'll get my new spent grains from this batch out of here. I'll get that washed. I'll get everything ready to go. You know what I mean? Cool. I'll pick back up in a little bit. Okay, guys, we got about a half hour left in the boil. I'm really happy this brew day has gone very smooth. I've been able to utilize a lot of downtime to get cleaning done. I've got all of my spent grains cleaned up from the last batch and this batch. I'm really happy with the way that my brew space is looking. So I got the chiller in there. The heat always takes a little bit of a hit after you add cold sort of equipment. So I'm letting that come back up to boil temp. Always happens. But my 60-minute hop additions are in there. I'm going to take this opportunity now to add the corn sugar. I've seen people add it at 20 minutes. I've seen people add it at 10. From what I gather, you just have to add it sometime during the boil, just so that it's nice and evenly sort of kind of diffused into the liquid. And that's about that. So, like I said, brew day garbage just happens to be a sack of grain. You know what I mean? I'll get this sanitized in just a few moments. I'll run a little bit of hot water runoff from my chiller into it first, just so I don't kind kind of waste any water. Then I'll add some Star San or PBW into it. We'll sanitize it, and then I'll put it underneath the brew kettle with my funnel, sanitized funnel, just because the mouth of this is a lot more narrow, say, than the opening of my Firmzilla, and it'll just ensure I don't make a mess. You know what I mean? But we'll pick back up in just a little bit. Cheers. All right, we got 5 minutes left on the boil. We're going back in for our last hop addition. 1 ounce of Mount Hood. Boom. My chiller's in, hooked up, ready to rock. Boom. Awesome. I'll let this do its thing. 5 minutes. I'll take the hop spider out. I'll get it chilled, and then I'll pick back up when we're transferring into the fermenter, and we're going to pitch the yeast, and I'll kind of show you the color difference between, you know, a cream ale and this Citra smash with the honey malt. You can kind of see the varying color changes and differences, and why all types of beer are awesome. You know what I mean? Okay, guys, we just kind of wrapped up Brewday. I got the airlock on, the bung and the airlock, and you can kind of already see the stratification of like the Werf lock working with the proteins and all the stuff kind of settling out to the bottom. This is probably something that I'm going to, once it's done in a couple of days, I'm going to leave that in place and siphon it right into the keg, just so that I don't agitate any of like the yeast or any of that protein drop. And I want this cream ale to be as clear as possible. You can see with the fermenter, the conical fermenter, how nice that stuff gets kind of channeled down to the little cup at the bottom. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to have that with this carboy, but no big deal. You can kind of see, I tried to get as much volume as possible. You can kind of see the crap left over from like the Werflock and the Irish moss. I didn't want to transfer that into the fermenter, but it really is a minimal sort of volume. And that's really about it. You can kind of see the difference between one style and the other. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this cream ale turns out, because it was a really nice brew day, very simple, and I'm looking forward to kind of getting different beer recipes and styles under my belt and some experience with that sort of stuff. So that's about it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed a little look into another brew day with me. So I appreciate the clicks and the watches, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.